Welcome to my channel. Today I will tell you the most terrifying ghost story ever recorded. It's the story of the woman in the Hateful Water Pool. This story comes from Reddit user, Circumference. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because he also posted the popular ghost story, "The Ghost in My House is Haunted by Me." So let's see if this guy can top himself with his next terrifying tale. Ready? Let's do this. It was 2 a.m., and I was alone in the house. My wife and kids were away for the weekend, and I was taking care of my elderly dog who had just had surgery. I poured a large brandy Alexander, settled into my chair, and turned on the TV. The brandy was strong, and I was soon feeling warm and fuzzy inside. Just as I began to doze off, there was a loud crash from the backyard. Startled, I went to the window to see what was out there. All I saw was a large oak tree silhouetted against the bright moonlit sky. The wind must have shifted some of the branches, I thought. So I went back to my drink and the TV. About 15 minutes later, I heard what sounded like screams in the backyard. Big guttural screams. My dog started barking furiously, and then the screams stopped abruptly. I decided I'd had enough, and I went to lock the back door just in case. As I walked out onto the patio to get to the door, I noticed the pool out the corner of my eye. It was then I saw the woman. She was floating face down in the pool directly under the oak tree. Her hair was long, and she was wearing a long white nightgown or a wedding dress. I couldn't tell which. But what really caught my attention was the fact that the pool was empty. There was no water anywhere. I could see the dirt at the bottom of the pool, and the woman was definitely not touching it. She was maybe 3 feet below the surface, and I could make out the details on her face. She looked to be in her late 20s or early 30s, and she was beautiful, even in death. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I remember thinking, wow, whoever she was, she died trying to get out of the pool. That would suck. And that's when I noticed the tree again. One of the large branches had fallen into the pool area, directly over where the woman was lying. I figured that she had probably climbed up the tree to get a better look at the full moon or something stupid like that. Then the branch must have snapped and fell on her, killing her instantly. I don't know why, but that made me feel a lot better. A freak accident. That's all. As I stood there staring at her, the brandy Alexander began to curdle in my gut. I needed more alcohol. I quickly poured myself another drink and went back to the TV. Maybe I was still drunk. Maybe it was shock. I don't know. But the longer I sat there, the more I began to notice strange things. The woman in the pool was moving. She was slowly rotating in the air, almost like she was hanging from a string. I watched in fascination as she began to rise out of the pool. Her head cleared the edge, and then she was gone. I looked around wildly. Where did she go? I couldn't see her anywhere. I checked under the tree, behind the shed, and in between the bushes. She was nowhere to be found. I continued to look for a good 5 minutes, but it was no use. Whatever had been in that pool was gone. I went back inside and locked the door. I haven't seen her since. But every now and then I think about the Hateful Water Pool and the woman in the Hateful Water Pool. Yeah, that's right. You heard him. He said Hateful Water Pool twice. Do you think he means like the pool was hateful, or is he just saying hateful twice because he's insane? Well, you be the judge of that. This story gets a thumbs up from me for its originality. If you think about it, we've all heard stories about ghosts that walk towards you or run away from you, but I've never heard of one that just floats straight up and then disappears. That's pretty unique. Also, I'm sure we've all wondered what it would be like to come home and find a dead person in our pool. And this story delivers on that curiosity without going overboard. It's just the right amount of creepy. Not too much, not too little. Like Goldilocks and the 3 pools. Just right. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to check out my podcast where I tell the same stories. Also, if you want to hear more terrifying tales from around the world, stay tuned. I tell spooky stories every single day, so if you love being scared, then this is the channel for you. Thanks again for watching. Take care and happy haunting.